Most people don't understand how much of an impact cars have on their life. They impact our environment, happiness, safety, sense of community, health, among many other things. A lot goes into making cities more livable communities. And I think cities are starting to realize this more and more, especially with the pandemic and the bike boom that happened because of it. That's what makes events like this so important. Once a year, bike lovers come from all over the country, or actually the world, in order to feel what it's like to ride in a city that isn't filled with cars. There's obviously a large appeal for this considering the fact that around 30,000 people show up to this every single year.
Already a lot of excitement over the bike. I think people are more excited about Tara on the bike than the robot bike, so it's a good sign. You got job security here, Tara.
I took this opportunity to ask bike riders from around the country what their thoughts are on some of these important topics related to biking, infrastructure, and culture, and what it's like in their communities. Where can we improve? The more we learn about these things, the better the chances of being able to implement them in our own cities.
All right, so starting out, what's today? Sunday. Okay, today's Sunday, but I think it's May 7th? Oh yeah, May 7th. Look at that, we got press passes, we're official. I did the ride like 2 years ago. We had like a robotic camera set up. It was fun, but it was challenging, and I'm excited to do it today, our kind of more normal form with Tara up front filming. I can just focus on biking and Tara's doing the hard work of shooting. We're gonna switch a little bit. I don't know how well Tara's gonna do 40 miles sitting up in the front of the bike here. She's a trooper. Yeah, just been like reflecting on why I like this ride so much. Of course, like riding with a bunch of people, great energy. But I think the other thing is just like not worrying about getting hit by a car. That's part of the reason why I like New York as well. It's just getting better and better. But we still got a lot a ways to go. We'll talk more about that, but we're gonna take you along for the ride. This is my third or fourth time doing this. I did it 1 year, it was pouring rain. That was a pretty tough experience. But today the weather's comfortable. I think it's gonna be a good time. Let's enjoy. So we start out in lower Manhattan. We're gonna go way up to the Bronx, and then we cross from the Bronx, come back in, then into Manhattan briefly, then go into Queens, then Brooklyn, and Staten Island. Today we get to really rule the city. Some people's dream and some people's worst nightmare. Lynn's one of our main mechanics in the Brooklyn shop, and Ari's on our web team.
Ari decided to ride an electric bike and Lynn on his regular bike. It's going to be interesting to see how they both do on the ride.
I just slow down. I'm tired.
So Ari, this is your third time in New York City? First time biking in New York City though?
Yes.
You feel pretty comfortable biking here though?
Yeah. Right now, kind of a little bit overwhelmed.
That's good, that's good. Just enjoy it, take it in.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a good overwhelm.
Yeah, it's good.
So I realize not everybody necessarily knows what this thing is. It's the Boro Bike Tour. Tours around all the 5 boroughs. It's about 40 miles long, but it's put on by Bike New York, nonprofit. One of the things they do is offer free classes throughout the city. They actually teach people to ride bikes for the first time. They also have a subsidiary called Recycle a Bicycle, where they take used bicycles as donations and they refurbish them. Bike New York also helps to advocate for different infrastructure and different things like that. Transportation Alternatives is one of the more well-known organizations in New York City, and they're really great advocating for infrastructure. And I find that it's really critical to have these organizations. We need appropriate representation to have change. There's a lot of great change that is happening in New York. There's a lot of great infrastructure that's coming online. But what I found in living in other places is sometimes there's the political will, but there's not necessarily the support of the community or adequate support of the community. If you don't have one of those in your area, I really recommend maybe you can start one. I've lived in places where they didn't have as strong organizations, and that can really limit the ability for change to happen.
This is where we tried to ride through Central Park, but didn't take the right turn in time, so we got a little upset. Not too long after, we realized that we were all going through Central Park, and I guess it's a little reminder to be patient, because things usually work out in the end. Decades of work went into finally banning cars in Central Park, a place where many New Yorkers go for fresh air and a break from the heavy congestion in most other places in the city. There were cases of injured people nearly every day, but now with cars being banned, it's a much more pleasant and safe place to enjoy. It was nice hearing some people's thoughts on how they're enjoying all the bike infrastructure improvements in recent years.
I commute because I live in Brooklyn, so I'll go into Verrazzano Bridge, and then I'll go up to work. I work in the Empire State Building.
You've lived in New York for a long time, but how are you finding the infrastructure and stuff like that? Are you feel like it's getting safer for you as a bicyclist?
I think they make great improvements. Yeah, because they put a lot of like the green bikeways, and they took cars and put them next to them in parking lanes.
What would you like to see more of in New York?
I think they need to separate the motorized bikes for the delivery people and the other bikes.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. You have a single bike lane, but then you have all types of bikes. Some people are casually biking, and others like they have a job, so they got to make money and get where they need to be.
How about bike parking? I mean, you have a pretty nice bike. What do you do? You're able to lock it up at work, or?
Bike parking would also be nice.
Yeah, actually, my sister and her boyfriend were supposed to come today, and sadly they discovered their bikes were stolen, so they didn't make it today.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we need some safe bike parking.
I think that there's a large percentage of people that don't bike because of the security issue, actually.
He used to work on a city bike.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Now you got a really nice bike here, but you commute on a city bike. I imagine I know the answer why. Yeah.
Ease of access to a vehicle, picking it up, dropping it off.
Yeah. If there was less security concerns, do you think you would use your own bike? No.
It's just easy to get access to a shed.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry, where am I going to leave it? I'm going to take it up in my building, put it in my office somewhere.
You had mentioned it's like about ease of access, but I do wonder if there might be something that almost like subconscious that you don't even recognize that security is an issue, that you just kind of accept it, that, you know, like, well, I need to bring my bike inside. But if there's actually a safe place to park it and you didn't have a concern about it being stolen, I think that would change the dynamic. But I don't know, what do you guys think?
I know many people that have had their bikes stolen and just kind of gave up on biking from there, and it's really unfortunate. City Bike definitely helps address this, but there's so much more potential.
So yeah, we're going from Manhattan into the Bronx. We're only going to be in the Bronx for a brief period. It's where people get jealous that you have an electric bike. But I tell you, she's making me look bad though. Madison Avenue Bridge. So this is the East River. We're crossing Manhattan into the Bronx. So all these bridges are free, but there are some paid bridges as well.
There's plenty of rest stops along the way, in case you're wondering.
Yo, Lynn. All right, there you go. Do you know how many miles we did so far?
Actually, it's just 10 miles.
We're a quarter way there. I think I'm gonna make it. I think I'm gonna be okay. Feel it a little bit. I've been like not riding as much. I got a 4-month-old at home. How are you holding up there?
Good. I'm surprised it's already been 10 miles.
So now Tara has to do the difficult job of crossing this sea of bicyclists.
I am about to play Frogger with bikes.
You might want to leave your helmet on.
Should I?
At this point, we were just taking in our time, taking in all the sights, but Lynn wanted to go ahead a little bit as he's used to touring and he wanted to pick up the pace.
We'll just meet at the next rest stop.
Okay.
So we said we'll meet up with him later.
It's GSD. Hey.
Love propel bikes.
Actually going back into Manhattan right now. Yeah, very, very brief stay in the Bronx. So I don't know, Lynn said he's gonna go ahead, but I still see him, so I'm not going that far. Going 13 miles an hour, we gotta tease him a little bit. All right, we're gonna catch him, Hot on the tail. This is the best opportunity to catch somebody on a non-electric bike going up a hill.
Oh,
Hey, Lynn, I thought you were gonna speed ahead. What's going on here?
I just slow down. I'm tired.
So we're on the FTR. We're heading south to Manhattan. We're coming up on 96th Street, up by the ferry terminal. The ferry actually pops around on the East River. I don't know that people use it as much. I'm not sure like everybody's fully aware, but definitely encourage you if you ever visit New York. Costs about the same as a subway. It's like $3. Really nice way to see some other parts of the city that you might not see otherwise.
It seems we saw a lot more smaller kids on the ride this year than in the past.
But the little guy coming around.
It's really cool to see parents exposing their kids to the joys of biking at such a young age. I hope to maybe bring my daughter on the ride next year.
Yeah, I like your bike.
Ah, thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of kids, bikes really seem to just bring out this kid-like behavior in people. As we got into the tunnel, there were a bunch of people yelling to hear their own echoes, and it's really great to see people having so much fun. I could definitely fare to get out on a bike more, especially with friends.
Hey guys. How's it going?
We ran into some friends we met last year. It really just goes to show how biking can make such a big city feel so much smaller and more intimate.
Lynn, you okay? Lynn, you okay? I think he was just getting tired. Oh, really now, huh?
Now he's showing us up.
I got you. I got your number, Lynn. We go passing Lynn again. Lynn, what's going on? I thought you were gonna get ahead of us.
Here we cross over the 59th Street Bridge. And growing up on Long Island, I've always recognized the 59th Street Bridge as one of the free bridges to get into Manhattan. But that's actually going to change next year with congestion pricing. The idea to hopefully lower congestion, improve air quality. And based on other cities, it seems that it actually can work pretty well. Now, I know many people are not too happy about this, but after living in the city for a while, you could certainly appreciate the value of this. I think we have to consider how people might be impacted by the heavy use of the automobile. We've actually been working with several commercial companies as they look to transition some of their vans and trucks to cargo bikes in preparation for this.
Oh, here's the crash. It's something definitely important to keep in mind during these things. It's like any hazards in the roadway, grates or expansion joints. They're not really made for bikes, so...
A little reminder that crashes do happen without cars sometimes, but they're usually much more minor in comparison.
All right, Lynn, all right. Good stuff. Love the Old Bay. So we're just about at the halfway mark. I think we're at like 19 miles. There's a pretty big rest stop at the 20-mile mark. I think that's where they have all the bananas. Ari said he feels like he's cheating. I think it's really just a matter of your like body holding up. It's not really about the endurance, but it's about like the endurance of the muscles in your behind, how that's gonna hold up. Found Lynn. Lynn, do you know the book Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
You're kind of like Waldo with your striped shirt. Start a new book. Where's Lynn?
We made it to the halfway point where we took a little break and ate a whole bunch of bananas.
Got the bananas. Time for the bananas.
And talked to more people about some of the New York infrastructure.
Yeah.
I live in New York,
Yeah? How do you feel about the bike infrastructure right now?
Needs improvement. On all one-way streets in New York City, there needs to be both bike lane directions. The biking infrastructure has improved so much over the last few years. All of a sudden, we have really good bike lane, and that hasn't been around for a long time.
Sure.
And so I think as the city keeps building momentum, as more young people care about biking instead of taking cars everywhere, more and more people are going to cycle. New York is the best place to cycle. It's faster than taking the subway.
And it's reliable too. I mean, that's a big thing.
Next generation.
I appreciate that. Yeah. All right. So now Tara's going to ride me in the bucket. We did this a couple times before in Amsterdam. Oh gosh, people are coming. Gosh, Tara. I think we'll be all right. So if we go down, hopefully it makes for an interesting video. But we don't have room for bananas, so it's just. All right. Let's see. I'm definitely a little bit bigger than Tara, so.
Chris from Hotel.
Oh!
Hey.
Hey, Tara.
Hello!
It's always super cool running to people who recognize us from our videos. You guys are awesome.
Hey, I love your video. Right? Yeah. You guys are awesome.
How is it, Tara?
Good. I think we bottomed out, but it's fine.
Hey, that's your cycle.
the other day, so that's why I'm recording you.
Nice extra cycle, man.
We ran into a man originally from Mexico, lives in Boston now, and got to talk to him about how he uses his recumbent bicycle. We spoke a bit about how it's not too safe to ride a bike so low to the ground on regular streets if there's not any infrastructure for bikes, or if they're not connected. to get you from point A to point B. When building bike lanes, a lot of times cities aren't too great at connecting the lanes.
So for right now, you use it mostly for recreation.
Recreation, yeah.
If you could, you would use it for transportation.
I would.
I think this is also an important consideration for the people that say that bike lanes aren't good for people with disabilities. Clearly, this man really appreciates it, and I've seen countless examples of people using it when it's properly connected. I think there's more people than we even realize who would want more bike lanes around their communities.
Well, it's nice meeting you.
I'm meeting you, Charles.
Take care.
So windy.
I'm from Colombia. He's from China.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Awesome. How's the biking in Bogota?
It's very high altitude, a lot of climbing. So, you know, good legs, good lungs.
It's fun seeing all the creativity that people put into their outfits.
All the people in Verrazzano, that's Team Cleveland. Oh, cool. I got 78 people join me. I'm Papa.
We heard quite a few people talking along the way about how their butts were hurting from riding so long.
Yeah, my butt hurts.
Mine does too.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, did you
Oh,
get
you guys have a sick ride. That's awesome.
Our shop is on the tour path, so we spend a lot of the day helping out people on the ride with maintenance and flat fixes.
All right, well, we had a little brief stop at my shop. So currently we're under the BQE. We're currently under the part that's actually falling apart, so really at any moment this could just kind of fall on us, but I did want to get some shade, so I figured I'll ride on this despite that, but there's kind of all sorts of different ideas of what they're going to do with this. That's the thing, these infrastructure projects, they cost so much money. I say just build bike lanes. Let's be reasonable. We do need trucks, we do need certain vehicles, but maybe they can go through different areas. It's a challenging thing. Sure, others might have ideas about that. Feel free to post some comments about it. And for now, I'm not going to worry about that. Just going to enjoy the ride, enjoy this little shade this potentially crumbling bridge is giving me at the moment.
You're about to get on that highway. Make sure you have your easy pass on.
And look at that traffic.
Oh yeah. It's kind of rare experience to get to ride on the Brooklyn Queens Expressway. Usually this is jam-packed with cars, but now we're pretty full with bikes. Definitely fit a lot more people on bikes than you can on cars though. Well, they got water up here. Looks like something fell off the back of the truck. And this bridge is not even really the most of it. It's the Verrazzano is the real hill. This is the sag wagon, it's called. When people can't keep up, they put the bikes in the back of there and then they go on the bus.
She did the whole race.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. You're in the home stretch. You're doing it.
Stretch.
I think that's like one of the best ways to do this ride, probably on a tandem.
How's it going?
They say it's not nice to tease, but you're just leaving me no choice here. Oh, is this guy? That guy's bringing delivery food right there. I see a delivery guy sitting with his bike, and he's got a bag of food. I think that he's delivering food to somebody on the route. Like somebody called up and said, "Meet me at 7th Avenue on the BQE." Woo! Oh, look at that traffic. The reality is that traffic would be there whether or not this road was closed. Maybe it wouldn't be as severe. I don't know. Just heard. I think this is the worst part. I think the worst is yet to come. Not so bad for me on an electric bike, but the Verrazzano Bridge, it's a pretty tall climb. That's what we will see next. I see a lot of people don't necessarily know how to use their gears. And I think that that's something that people could fare to learn to do. It's important. It's a little cold in the shade. Important reminder. It's cold in the shade. There's been a lot of talk about putting a bike lane on this bridge. Actually, to get out of Manhattan without taking a ferry, one of the only ways you can do it is the George Washington Bridge. So you got an issue with that one. They close the bridge at a certain hour. Hopefully you figure it out one day. I think it's coming. What do you guys think? What's up with this? Is this a unicorn? I think she's getting pulled over for being too cool. All right, now we're at the top of the hill. It's all downhill from here, as they say. Kind of had a negative connotation, right? It's all downhill from here. But biking, when it's all downhill from here, that's kind of a nice thing. This is the point in the ride where I say to get a little delirious and I just say random stuff. So
As we finished up the ride, I was just reflecting on what it really means to me and how this ride might have been different than other ones. I thought about last year. I really enjoyed riding with my dad. It would have been nice to have him join again. One of the things I thought about how it was a little bit easier for me to be engaged and not focus so much on my cameras and stuff like that. I think that that's one of the great things about biking, to be able to connect with people as you ride. Really just feel more connected to the community and the experience.
All right, photo finish. Not really. It's not a race.
I think that's a reminder for me, and I don't know, maybe you'll find it to be helpful as well, but just to get out there and enjoy, especially if you can get out there and enjoy with other people.
You made it, Lynn.